So let's have a look at the 703 bolt. So it's a combination of two products. So smallHD and Teradek have got together. They're both underneath the Vitek umbrella and incorporated technology from both of those companies to come up with this product called the 703 bolt. So the monitor itself is based loosely around smallHD's 703 ultra bright 7-inch monitor. And then incorporated inside of the monitor built in is Teradek's Sidekick 2 bolt receiver. So this is basically sort of what it looks like. You see it's got the optional director's handles here on the side, and there's also a V-lock battery plate on the back. So if you're familiar with smallHD monitors, very similar in terms of operation. You can see on the side here, this is its side control panel with all your function keys, power back button and the little joystick button. The interface here is basically identical to that of the 703 Ultra Bright. So to turn it on, I just press down on the power button. And up it pops here. And I'll just scroll back so you can see what we've got. So there you can see our wireless signal has now popped up on the Bolt 703 monitor display here. So once you've configured your transmitter, your Bolt transmitter, your compatible ones, you can either use the 500, the 1000 or the 3000. In this case I'm using the 3000. Once you actually configure it up in the settings here, I'll just go here and show you that very quickly. So down here in the menu, you can see we've got wireless in here on the menu. So if we pop across, there's an airplane mode, and then there's also region. So then I can go through and change all the different operating regions depending on where I happen to be, because the laws differ in different countries depending on where you are in terms of the wireless law requirements in what sort of frequencies you can operate in. So I'll just choose that, and you can see here it's paired with this transmitter. In this case, that's the Bolt 3000 transmitter. So once you've paired it up, every time you turn it on, it'll automatically just connect up. You don't have to do any connecting on either side or anything. Once both those devices are on, boom, you get the wireless signal. Just get back. So again, it uses page builder technology, which is very familiar to anybody who's used a smallHD. So you can obviously scroll through all these different pages, and then you can build up your pages depending on how you would like to have them and add new features. Quite a nice little interface, and it's good because you can quickly scroll between different options. Again, if I go into the settings here, we go back up to the top, you can see we've got input. So at the moment we've got our wireless coming in through the input. I can also change that to HD SDI1 or HD SDI2. I can also then change down here, I can change the color space. You can see all the different color spaces here. So for instance HDR, C-Log, V-Log, red, there's ARRI wide gamut, all these different choices. For the moment I'm just going to keep it on Rec 709. You can also change the white point here. It's a D65 at the moment. You can have DCI P3, and then you can actually change it to different Kelvin temperatures if you would so like it. Gamma, so you can match your camera's gamma exponent if you would like. And then of course there's lift and gain settings here if you want to change around those as well. Output page, this is what you choose. A bit strange, it's got choice here for HDMI and HD SDI. Now the smallHD or Teradek, and you can, both of them are selling it, the 703 Bolt doesn't have an HDMI input or output, so I'm not sure why this comes up on the page. It's only got an HD SDI, so you can change that on the output, and then you've got your output page here, and you can change it to have always show. So if you've got something connected up, it'll always show the output page, or show if output is enabled. So if I've got something enabled on the output, I can tick that, or never show it. So it's just different things there. So here we've got our backlight. So this is what makes the ultra bright technology here on the smallHD. So you've got standard range, you've got studio brightness, which will lower it down. So you can see what happens if I choose studio brightness, standard range. This is my backlight. So at the moment I've got it on 20. You can see what happens when I boost it up. You can see it gets incredibly bright all the way up to 100 there. I can take it back down to 0. Just for this demonstration, I'm going to keep it on 20. Calibration, so this is nice too. So smallHD does sell a X-Rite calibration tool that you can buy as an optional extra to calibrate your screen. Appearance here, so you can change sharpness, gamma shift, contrast, brightness, saturation, RGB gain, RGB offset. We'll reset them all. Headphones, so you've got headphone volume, so there's a headphone jack on here, so you can adjust the headphone volume. Image rotate, auto flip the image, which is nice, so if I turn this around the wrong way, I'll just get out of this just so you can see this for a second. So you can have it on auto flip, so you can see it's upside down and it's now auto flipped the image around. If I move that back around again, and you'll see it will eventually, there you go, flip back around into the right mode. Let's go back to the settings page. Anamorphic, of course, so all the way up from 1.33 times all the way up to 2 times. You can do an anamorphic D-squeeze. DSLR scale for Canon 5D Mark II, your Canon 7D. It's been in there for a long time on smallHD monitors. Image capture, capture LUTs, timestamp in file name, capture on record start, reset capture number, capture location, and then image gallery. We can save those images that you capture. Nice features. Again, I went through the wireless. You've got pixel zoom, so you can change the first level or the second level on there depending on what you want. Scopes buttons, so when you press the scope button, what you want to actually show. Status display, so you can show the status display of where you want to have all these things, which is nice if you want to have all these things up. UI lock, language, backdrop. So that's just the backdrop that comes up on your screen when you don't have anything there. Soon you'll be able to put your own custom ones on there. Yeah. Quirky little feature, don't know whether I'd use it, but there you go. Power, date and time, profiles, firmware updates, factory reset. So that's pretty much it, what you've got on the menu sitting here, the menu setting I should say, of the smallHD. I'll just go back. So here's your pages. Here's your output preview page. So this is showing what's going to be output over the SDI if you're going to say sending this signal to another monitor or downstreaming it somewhere else. Here, this is what's showing here between my dual split display here. So I've got wireless or SDI 1. I can flip this around to SDI 2, or I can have wireless on both of those. So it's like a split screen, so I can see what I'd like to do, which is a nice thing. I'll just get back out of that. So that's the split screen display, so you can have 2 options coming in there, which is quite nice. Here on this one, you can see I've got all my different scopes, vector scope, waveform, histogram, all on there. I can choose to have 1 or all 3. Good just to be able to see all those different scopes. False color, this is nice too. So the false color here, with the new firmware that smallHD released not that long ago, you can customize this here. You'll see the values along this this part of the screen. So there's a preset for ARRI, which is great. So it's already got the values in there, but I can go in and change all these to customize the ARRI values corresponding to whatever camera I happen. So moving on to the next page here, this is really nice. So what you've got here is you can do something called color picker. So when I've got color picker enabled, you'll see, it might be a little bit difficult to see on here, but you've got this crosshair. So if I move it around with the joystick, you can see it's telling me the readings of different colors, the RGB values of these different colors. So if I wanted to actually say, take it over here, you can see it moving and you'll see a color reference of what it's on up there. So this is really good if, say, for white or whatever, you can see how the difference in terms of getting your white balance, completely right or right on white. So you can see here, it's a bit towards the magenta here because we're at 83% red, 78% green, 72% blue. So you can use this as a good tool to make sure that you're getting white as white. And it's good if you're inputting another camera in there and you can reference these things up, so you can get the value right for both of your cameras, tune them, so when you're doing a couple of different cameras, you can get them to match a lot easier. Now just get back out of that. Oops. Sorry about that. And of course you've got your peaking, audio meters down here. Of course your pixel focus checking, which is really handy. Just get back out of that. Other pages where you can add all sorts of different things, LUTs and stuff. So that's pretty much it in terms of the functionality of it. As far as the screen goes, with the smallHD and Teradek 703 bolt, I'm not 100% convinced by it. It is really good because you can use it outdoors in completely bright sunlight and see the image, which is great. But I do find it lacks a little bit of contrast. When you do that, it probably doesn't have as richer blacks as I would like. It does give you an image, but I'm not sold on it. I think for the amount of money that you're paying for a system like this, to only have an 8-bit panel, is a little bit disappointing in some respects. And it's a compromise. Having that high bright means you're sacrificing a bit on contrast and other areas in terms of overall image quality. But, if you want to use something that's outside and viewable, there really isn't another alternative. There isn't anything better in terms of being able to see an image out in really, really bright sunny conditions. I'm just not 100% sold on the imagery. So this is the back of the 703 bolt. You'll see this is where my 3 wireless aerials go in. Inside, it's nicely protected by this little mounting system on the back. You can see I've got the optional plate on the back here. This is a V-lock. You can also get gold mount as well. You've got the handles on here. Now the handles are really nice. Just flip it back here. They're really nice to hold on to. It's really ergonomic. You can see I can still access all my control features by holding on to this here. The trouble is that you can't adjust them easily. If you wanted to change the angle around, it's not that easy. You'll see it's got these little Allen key bolts here on the edges. So you have to undo these to be able to adjust it, which is, could have been better. I would have liked to seen some sort of quick release system or something where you could adjust them quite easily. Here's where you've got your SDI in and out. You can change the behavior of that. There's also your SDI to input on the side here. Down here there's a little switch, a power switch to turn the wireless on and off. This is also down here is where your headphone jack is. Then you've got a space to put a SD card, so where you can store your frame grabs, load up firmware, etc. You've got a 12 to 34 volt DC in and out, and then there's a USB here as well for powering other accessories. So it's quite nice to be able to power other accessories off these ports as well as use the battery. It's built really tough. It's a really, it's a minimalistic unit in a lot of ways. It's built to do a job, and that's it. It's not designed to be flashy, which I sort of like about that. It's quite lightweight without even attaching, even without a battery on there, even putting a battery on there. The weight is maintained. It's quite nice to hold on to. It's very ruggedly built with the chassis here. These are all protected. The screen it feels like quite a robust unit that could take a bit of battle out there in the field. So they've done a good job with that. Mounting points, there's mounting points on the bottom and also on the top that you can see there. If I want to flip it back over again, I can put a battery on it, and then I'm sort of ready to go.
The 703 Bolt has an extremely bright 3000 nit display, which makes it really easy to view it outdoors in bright conditions. So let's check out how that works, and then we're also going to see just how much range this system actually has. So even standing out in really bright sunlight, it's really easy to see the screen. Unless you actually angle it directly against the sun, then you can see it from any type of angle, and it's super clear. It's the first monitor I've ever used like this that you can see so clearly outside in any type of bright operating conditions.
To check the wireless distance, I went for a little walk. Now, this was using the Teradek Bolt 3000 transmitter, and the receiver that's built into the 703 bolt is the side kick too. So it was interesting to see what the range was going to be. Teradek quotes it as being 300 feet, about 100 meters. So you can see I'm way up the end of the street here, and the camera position is just going to zoom back from where I've still got a stable signal. Now this is line of sight, but we were able to get around about 200 meters, about 630 odd feet of distance, which was pretty impressive. But whether this would be the case if you used one of the other bolt transmitters, I'm not so sure. So to sum up, the 703 bolt is a pretty good unit. It's a good collaboration between smallHD and Teradek, and it gives you a compact, all-in-one wireless solution. The range is pretty good. The screen is very, very good outdoors. It's fairly average indoors, I think, compared to other comparable options that are a lot cheaper. The 703 bolt works as advertised, and that's pretty much all you can ask from a product. Whether you're prepared to swallow that high price tag, though, it's only something you will know.